So I was gonna make a video today talking about some other shit. Trying to kind of like clarify in a more concise way the things that I've been trying to say over the last couple of days. But anyway, it doesn't matter what I was gonna make a video on. That's really not important. But instead, what's happened, as you can see, I'm not even dressed. I'm in my dressing gown. I haven't even washed my face yet. Here's yesterday's makeup. I need a better skincare routine, clearly. Oh! So instead, I'm just going to talk really quickly about what happened this morning. So I have a 13-year-old boy who's a teenager and is going through teenage angst, basically. I have a mother who I keep on saying is narcissistic, and I know that people kind of like bounce that phrase around all the time, and loads of people are like, oh, you're narcissistic, you're triggering me, you're gaslighting me. And a lot of the time actually it's just an excuse not to take responsibility for your own behavior, right? You're just kind of projecting it out onto other people. But I'm well versed in what narcissism means, and maybe at another point I'll explain why it is I keep on calling my mum a narcissist. But basically she has very limited empathy and compassion for other people, and has a tendency to see her needs, whether they're being met or not, as the most paramount thing that's happening at any one given time, which is difficult when you put that against. So she's not often self-regulated, self-aware. She's quite dysfunctional in the way that she deals with stress or pressure, and it's a lot of displacement of blame and projection. And that's difficult when you've got a 13-year-old who naturally is going through that kind of early onset teenage thing where they've suddenly realized that they are a separate entity to their own parents, and they're the most fucking important person in the room. Like, there's a reason why kids are of that age are self-involved, and it's not because they're just selfish human beings. It's because they've suddenly realized, like, oh my god, like, like when a toddler realizes that they can say no. I think it's like that for teenagers. And then mix that with an autistic 20-year-old who finds it really difficult to take responsibility for themselves for a myriad of different reasons. And I don't want to feel sorry for myself, but here I am, stuck in the midst of it all, having done a lot of work and learned to not be reactive and try and be more responsive and be more regulated. And I feel like I'm having to regulate everybody in this house. And it's really difficult, particularly with the situation between my mum and my youngest son, because it's so reminiscent of how she behaved towards me throughout my whole life, particularly in my teenage years when I was seeking that independence and that self-agency and that autonomy in my own life to do my own thing, to make my own decisions, to be my own person. And also, you are just angry as a teenager. There's like hormones raging everywhere, and I get that. And I think what it's making me reflect on is how triggered I still am by these really historical wounds, and how deeply they've impacted my psyche, my sense of self, my formation of identity. And it's like, I'm really grateful for it in a way, because I knew from what I experienced that I never wanted to treat my child like that. But I guess it's a reminder that there's always work to be done. And when I say work, I just mean like self-love, figuring out how to love yourself. And I guess the challenge is figuring out how to love myself, figuring out how to allow my child to grow, because he can be awful. Like, he's a 13-year-old boy, right? He can be awful, like never getting up, his room's a mess, but it's like, do I trust him to make his own way? Do I need to intervene all the time? Do I need to micromanage him? That's not my style of parenting, but it's very much my mum's, because if she's not in control of her environment, she feels out of control internally. So, I mean, I think essentially she feels out of control internally anyway, and that's why she needs to control her environment. Does it in various manipulative and emotionally blackmailing and passive aggressive ways. I don't really know the point of what it is that I'm trying to say. I guess it's just a reflection on where I'm at. The fact that even though I have done a lot of work and I'm aware of it, my childhood continues to impact me, and maybe create a level of scaviness towards my mum because of the way that she's treated my son, because I see it's so the same as how she behaved towards me. I'm now going to have to intervene as an adult in a way that I wish someone had intervened for me. And I'm really not looking forward to it, because I don't like confrontation. And I particularly don't want to have confrontation with somebody who stripped me of all my power from a very young age. It's like the big boss at the end of the game. Oh my god, I feel like I'm playing Donkey Kong again, except for it's not fucking fun. So how do I regulate myself so that I can be as balanced as possible? Is it necessary for me to be balanced in this situation? Should I spew all of my childhood angst and hatred onto my mom because now she's doing the same thing to my son? Is it even her responsibility? Because should I be back in her house at this point in time in my life? Should my son take responsibility for his behavior because he's making it more difficult? How much of it is his age and he's going to grow out of? How much of that can be conveyed to someone who doesn't have trust in other human beings and their ability to be good and to grow and to make good choices? Yeah, it's time for some kind of intervention. God help me. I don't want to do it. But maybe it's one of the things that I chose to come back here to do, to figure out. And you know what, I'm getting emotional as I say it, so I think it's definitely true. That I came back here to figure out how to explain to my mum how painful and damaging, like lifelong damaging, treating another human being with disdain actually is. And maybe I have to do it through my son. Yeah. Look. Yeah, I think that's true, because look at the state of me when I say it. So wish me luck.